Hello, everyone. I'm Simon Ford of Ford's Gin. Martinis, gin and tonics, Negronis, great classic cocktails is what I'm about. But I also love to hear of great recipes from great bartenders from around the world, which is why we've partnered with Beyond the Drink for this season. Cheers.
Well, you just heard from the man himself, Simon Ford, and we are glad this season of Beyond the Drink is once again brought to you by our friends at Ford's Gin. I'm Kapri, and in this series, we're going behind the bar. It's time to explore the journeys of the world's best bartenders, uncovering their passion, the latest gin trends, and of course, the social impact they make in their community. Beyond the Drink airs every other week right here on Beyond the Plate. If you're new to the pod, welcome. If you've listened before, we're glad you're back. Let's go Beyond the Drink. Prost. Today's guest is one of the most accomplished bartenders Washington, D.C. has ever seen at one of North America's 50 best bars. No big deal. She's an advocate for people of color in the food and beverage industry and travels the country guiding the next generation of bartenders. You may recognize her from the hit series Drink Masters on Netflix. You can find more on her in the episode notes and follow her on Instagram at kapri.possible. Please welcome Superwoman. No, I'm just kidding. Please enjoy this episode as we go beyond the drink with the 2024 Tales of the Cocktail Spirited Awards U.S. Bartender of the Year, Kapri Robinson. Look at you, crushing it.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's the best intro I've had ever.
All right, Kapri, we start every episode off with an audio test. So can you name 3 fruits or vegetables you love to use with gin?
Absolutely. I'm going to say chayote squash. I love chayote squash. Definitely going to go with yuzu. And then I'm going to say tomato.
3 great ones. I love that. All right, Kapri, can you tell everyone what you do?
Yes, I do quite a lot. I want to first start off with the bar that I work at. I work at Allegory in Washington, D.C. Beautiful hotel bar. Also won U.S. Hotel Bar of the Year with Spirited Awards. So really cool to have both of those awards this year. Outside of that, I recently just started consulting, which has been a new journey and really awesome and fun. I am the founder of Chocolate City's Best, which is a nonprofit geared towards uplifting Black and brown bartenders in the world, really. It's a great worldwide network right now, and we currently have a cocktail competition called Chocolate City's Best. That's at the moment focused on U.S. bartenders of color. That will be coming back hopefully by the end of this year, if not the early next year. And then I also am a podcaster myself with Soul Palette Podcast, which is really cool. I do that with my best friend Danae Jones, and we taste spirits. We really want to normalize that tasting is something that's subjective for everyone. It doesn't have to be intimidating. And then we talk a lot of stuff about everything, life, friendship, drinks, everything. It's really cool. What else do I do? Outside of that, I just have fun.
Cool. I love that, Kapri. So share with us, I'd love to get a quick look at your journey and how you got to where you are.
It all started when I dropped out of college and I needed so I went to Howard University here in Washington, D.C., and I needed to find something to keep sustaining life and live by myself. So I needed a job. And the first job that ever hired me was Uno's Chicago Grill, which is like a pizzeria restaurant. It was in the train station. I started off as a server, and that was super easy. But what I really loved about that place, I still have friends from there, is that they really welcomed me in, really showed me the drive of getting money and teamwork and things like that. And I really enjoyed going out with them at the end of the night and having fun. But there came a time that I needed to make a bit more money than I was making there. And I applied to a place called Farmers Fishers Bakers, which was on the waterfront in Georgetown. So a price difference in the type of people coming around, more fine dining than Uno's was. And when I got there as a server, I saw how the bartenders were. They were smart. They were creative. This is fresh juices. It was tiki program, tropical drinks. So there was fire and big garnishes, and they didn't batch anything. So these fast bartenders going on, and they challenged each other. And I just saw that I really wanted to do that. I dropped out of school, but I still wanted to learn something. I still wanted to grow in some area. So as soon as I turned 21, I asked to be behind the bar. And from there, I got behind the bar. It was hard. It was a hard training there in terms of speed, in terms of learning, how how to be on time, different things like that. Lots of lessons were learned first getting into the program. And I was pushed into competing. And my first competition, I was like, you're going to do this. I'm like, well, I'm learning to make these drinks, but how do you create, right? And so that was something that I was pushed into, and I loved it. I failed many times. I bombed bigly, large bombs on my first competitions, but I finally won one called DC Cocktail Queen in 2017. And from there, the world of beverage kind of opened up for me. Because of that win, I was able to see my first distillery ever. I understood that brands spend money to send bartenders to different places and to show them dinners and to show them special and different techniques and stuff. And it was really cool to see that this investment of brands was happening into the bartenders. I just thought for a moment there, it was like, oh, bottles should show up and that's where they are. I didn't really think about how they're really made. And so I really, really enjoyed that. And from there, I ended up going to my first camp run amok session and my first Tales of the Cocktail. My first Tales of the Cocktail was 2016, which was lots of fun. But when I went back in 2017, I kind of had a different view on things after this competition win. And, I really just started to think about how people like me, people of color, women of color, weren't really majority or even half or a third of the crowds that I was being put in. And I really just started to look around and just wanted to my friends back home, because DC does have a lot of people of color in the industry here, and they didn't know about these things. They didn't know about camp. They didn't know about Tales of the Cocktail. They didn't know about conferences. They didn't know that brands do these things. From there, just wanted to figure out a way to start something for people like me. And that's where Chocolate City's Best came in. And kind of from there, just started to bloom more.
Do you remember that first drink you made at that competition?
At which like my first ever competition?
Oh, good question. The first one you won.
I don't remember specifically the drinks I came with prepared, but I do remember that the mystery round, the ingredient was Midori, and I made a Midori mezcal daiquiri of some sort, I think, with mint or something, and it turned out really good.
Kapri, what makes you happy about being behind the bar?
Oh, so many things. I really like to host. I'm a big hoster. I want people to have a great time. I like to see people take a sip of something after they told me what they flavors and compounds that they like and see joy on their face after tasting a cocktail. I like the challenge of creating cocktails out of the blue and just really just an overall sense of that this person left with having a really amazing time here. They enjoyed our service. They enjoyed the drinks. They love the atmosphere. They love the music. And they're going to go tell someone to come back again.
Love it. Is there a recent cocktail that you made out of the blue that strikes a chord that you remember that you're like, man, that was so good? Or just another cocktail that you're loving these days that you made?
I've recently been making something that's NA. It's the Martini Rossi Vibrante, which is kind of their version of a NA Campari almost, or like a red bitter with Amaro Lucano's NA Amaro, which is super delicious, lime juice and ginger syrup and soda water. So it's like a highball style, and I garnish it with mint, and it's been coming out really delicious. And it has been great because the people that come in for NA beverages are used to something that's like fruit punchy or juicy, and this is going to take more of one like the earthy, bitter side of things. And I really just was very happy about that that I've been making.
That's really cool. Was there a certain cocktail that inspired you to get behind the bar? I know we heard a little bit about how you got there, but was there one that you had your eye on that encouraged it?
It wasn't more the cocktails when it really was more the team. It was more the people behind the bar, how much fun they looked like they were having and how much education they were getting. They were constantly testing. They were constantly competing against each other. They were constantly learning and dropping hints of knowledge to me and the team. And that was just something that I really resonated with the most.
Do you have a go-to cocktail?
A Caipirinha. Caipirinha is so delicious. I decided this was my favorite cocktail sometime within this year, because at first I'd be like, I don't have a favorite, which is very true. It's very hard for me to pick favorites of anything. But I was just drinking a Capri one day and I was like, I think that this is my favorite cocktail. Really biggest thing is because I've also now chosen a favorite spirit, which is going to be anything that's sugarcane juice based. So not specifically rum molasses based, but sugarcane juice specifically, because it always has this grassy nature. There's such a diversity to it. And it really, for me, shows terroir when you talk about spirits. And a Caipirinha is just a cachaça, which is a sugarcane juice based spirit from Brazil, lime and sugar, and super simple. But that rum or the cachaça, just elevates the complexity of the drink because it itself is complex. So I really enjoy that cocktail a lot.
And what's exciting to you these days? How about like in the world of gin, or as it relates to bartending and mixology in general?
In the world of gin, I've recently been seeing smoked herb gins, which has been quite awesome because you think you're like, it's going to get weird, but it doesn't. They've been like smoking one of the botanicals and then, of course, following along with their usual process of incorporating botanicals. And it comes out with a really nice, subtle smokiness, which I thought was really awesome. Outside of that, the NA Crave is really cool to me. I think that you're seeing so many menus get larger with NAs on them, which is great and inclusive and great for a lot of people in so many different ways, that it's not just your soda waters or your pineapple juice. It's literally things that have been thought about flavors and concepts. I think as a chef, you could probably really appreciate that people are using like flavors and not just alcohol to base what their whole libation is all around, which is really cool.
All right. So we started to mention this briefly and we heard about your initiative, but our listeners of Beyond the Plate know that we celebrate social impact and giving back with all of our guests. And as I was stating, it's no different with the bartenders that we speak with. So we all love learning how you do it. And so I'd love for you to shed some light on a cause or charitable organization. Could be your own, could be others that you'd like to raise some awareness for.
Yes. So I already kind of talked about mine. So I really would like to talk about another cause, which is going to be A Sip of Paradise Garden out of Atlanta, Georgia with Kiata Mincy Parker. I really enjoy that program. It is a physical garden that she started in Atlanta for bartenders to have their own pots to, one, get away and kind of have some peace of mind, to kind of just come somewhere, put their hands in the ground and connect with the earth, but also a way for them to grow fresh ingredients for any types of cocktails or anything like that. They also use the garden for places to do like yoga and meditation. They also use it for events and educational purposes with brands. And I just really enjoy A Sip of Paradise Garden for sure.
Very cool. I like that. All right. To close it out here, Kapri, I'm always curious and also honestly get a kick out of asking about etiquette. And when it comes to bar etiquette, I would love to hear from you one thing we should never do in a bar and one thing maybe we should always do in a bar. And I know one thing is hard.
Well, one thing you should always do in a bar is say hello. Don't just order a drink. There are people standing in front of you. We want to feel like a person. And so when you get a hello, please say hello back. If you get a how are you doing, ask back. That's really nice. One thing you should never do in a bar is reach over to the bartender's area of the bar. Don't touch our fruit, please. Ask if you can have a fruit. We'll give it to you. I'm pretty sure we'll probably give it to you. We probably won't. It might be a no, but you got to be okay with the no. But just the reach over of getting something that is not in the guest area, your area of things, also makes us feel like we're not people and that you're not seeing us as people. So that's probably the two things.
I love it. And it's right on brand because when I did the podcast last season with Simon Ford and Julie Reiner, Julie also said, don't eat our garnish. Or don't eat the fruit. Yeah.
It happens so much. It's wild.
Kapri, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Love all the incredible work you're doing behind the bar, mentorship, social impact, your charitable organization. It's incredible. And you are on fire right now and keep it up.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
This episode was produced by myself, along with Ian Cohen, Joel Yetton, and Sean Petrosian. Our digital media producer is Sarah McClellan-Mee. Our music has been composed by Goldford. Find him at iGoldford. As always, special shout out to my wife, Katie. If you have not started following me yet, you should. Find me across all social media at On Cappy's Plate, or go to BeyondThePlatePodcast.com and keep up to date with Beyond the Plate. Beyond the Plate is also on social at BT Plate Podcast. If you have a moment, we'd be grateful of your support by rating, reviewing, and even hitting that subscribe button to the podcast. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Drink, a production of Beyond the Plate. I'm Cappy.